Lily stared at her phone, the screen illuminating her face as she contemplated her next move. It had been a long week filled with work and stress, and she was in desperate need of a break. As a young professional navigating the chaos of life in the city, she often found solace in weekend getaways. That Friday afternoon, she decided it was time for a little adventure. Scrolling through her favorite travel app, she stumbled upon a charming Airbnb nestled in the hills, just a couple of hours away. It was described as a cozy cabin surrounded by lush forests and serene lakes, exactly what she needed. The images showcased a quaint fireplace, plush seating, and a stunning view of the sunrise. Before she could second guess herself, she clicked book now. As she confirmed her reservation, excitement bubbled inside her. She texted her best friend, Jenna, *just booked a weekend getaway. Can't wait to unwind. Jenna quickly replied, full of enthusiasm, encouraging Lily to enjoy every moment. Little did Lily know, this spontaneous trip would set off a chain of events that would change everything. When Lily arrived at the cabin later that evening, the sun was beginning to set, casting a warm glow across the landscape. She parked her car and took a deep breath, inhaling the crisp, pine-scented air. The tranquility of the place enveloped her like a comforting embrace, washing away the stresses of her work week. The cabin was just as beautiful as the pictures had promised. She opened the door and was greeted by the cozy warmth of the fireplace, crackling softly in the background. Setting her bags down, she explored the space, marveling at the rustic decor and the large windows that framed the breathtaking view outside. Lily unpacked her things, intent on making the most of her solo weekend. She brewed a cup of herbal tea and settled onto the couch, relishing the silence broken only by the occasional chirping of crickets outside. After a few moments of peace, she grabbed her phone to check for messages. That's when she saw a notification from her dating app. Curious, she opened it and scrolled through the profiles. Among the usual matches, one caught her eye, Jake, a charming guy with a killer smile and a love for outdoor adventures. They had matched a few weeks ago but hadn't gotten around to chatting much. As she hesitated, contemplating whether to send him a message, her phone vibrated again. It was a text from Jenna, *hey, have fun tonight? You deserve it. Don't forget to take some pics. *. With a burst of spontaneity, Lily typed out a message to Jake, *hey. I'm at this cute cabin for the weekend. Want to join me for a little adventure? Her heart raced as she hit send, unsure if he would even be interested. To her surprise, Jake replied almost instantly. *That sounds awesome. I could use a break, too. I'm about an hour away. Let me grab some snacks and I'll be there. Lily felt a rush of excitement and anxiety. She hadn't expected him to take her up on the offer. Would this be a fun night, or had she just invited a stranger into her weekend getaway? Within the hour, she heard a knock at the door. Taking a deep breath, she opened it to reveal Jake, holding a bag of snacks and a wide grin. Hey. Hope I'm not too early. No, perfect timing, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. As he stepped inside, she felt an undeniable chemistry, an energy that pulsed between them. He was even more charming in person, and his easygoing demeanor instantly put her at ease. Jake set down the snacks on the kitchen counter and looked around. This place is amazing. I can see why you wanted to get away. Thanks. I thought it would be the perfect escape, Lily replied, smiling back at him. They quickly settled into conversation, discussing everything from their favorite hiking spots to their most memorable travel experiences. As the evening unfolded, they shared laughs and stories, the tension from earlier melting away. Lily felt a thrill of adventure in the air, the kind that made her heart race and her palms sweat. They decided to roast marshmallows outside, creating an impromptu campfire atmosphere. As the stars twinkled above, they sat close together, enjoying the warmth of the fire and the sweet taste of s'mores. Lily couldn't remember the last time she had so much fun. There was something electric about Jake, something that drew her in. But as the night wore on, the reality of the situation began to settle in. She had just invited a man she barely knew into her life for a weekend, and she had a partner back home. The guilt began to creep in, battling with the excitement she felt. Was she crossing a line? Yet, as she caught Jake's gaze, something inside her whispered that it was okay to let go for just one night. She was in a different world, far from her everyday worries. Maybe this was what she needed, a break from reality and a chance to feel alive. "Let's go for a walk," Jake suggested, breaking her train of thought. "I know a trail that leads to a viewpoint where we can see the stars." "Sure, that sounds great," she replied, heart pounding in her chest. As they walked hand in hand down the path, the moonlight illuminated their way. Lily found herself lost in the moment, caught between the thrill of the adventure and the weight of her choices. For now, all that mattered was the laughter, the connection, and the magical night ahead. End of chapter 1. Reddit cheating story. The Airbnb setup. Chapter 2, Under the Stars. The night air was cool against Lily's skin as she and Jake strolled along the winding path, the soft crunch of leaves underfoot creating a soothing rhythm. The forest around them was alive with nocturnal sounds, the occasional rustle of branches or chirp of crickets filling the silence. Lily felt a mix of exhilaration and apprehension. This was a moment she hadn't anticipated, but it felt undeniably right. As they walked, they chatted easily about their lives. Jake shared stories about his travels, the wild adventures he had taken, and the lessons he learned along the way. Lily listened intently, drawn in by his passion and charisma. "You know," Jake said, stopping to look at her, "it's refreshing to meet someone who's just as adventurous. Most people are content staying in their comfort zones." Lily laughed, a hint of shyness creeping in. "I guess I've always been a bit of a wanderer at heart. I love exploring new places and pushing my boundaries." "I can see that. It's inspiring," he replied, his gaze steady and sincere. As they approached the viewpoint, the trees opened up to reveal a breathtaking panorama. The stars sparkled like diamonds scattered across a velvet sky, and the moon bathed the landscape in a soft glow. Jake led her to a large rock where they could sit and take in the beauty. "This is incredible," Lily breathed, mesmerized by the sight. "I can't believe I've never come here before." "I'm glad I could share it with you," Jake said, sitting close beside her. Their shoulders brushed, sending a jolt of electricity through her. "This spot is my favorite escape. It's where I come to think and recharge." They sat in comfortable silence for a moment, the beauty of the night enveloping them. Lily felt a flutter of nerves as she turned to look at Jake. "I'm really glad you came tonight," she admitted, her heart racing. "Me too," he said softly, his eyes locking onto hers. "It's rare to find a connection like this, especially with someone who's willing to just go for it." Lily's heart raced at his words, feeling both flattered and nervous. She had always been cautious in her relationships, but there was something undeniably magnetic about Jake. In this moment, surrounded by nature and the shimmering stars, she felt liberated from her usual reservations. "Just so we're clear," she said, her voice steadying as she gathered her thoughts. "I didn't invite you here to complicate things. I have a boyfriend, and I'm still figuring things out." Jake nodded, a hint of understanding crossing his face. "I get it. I didn't mean to overstep. I'm just enjoying the moment, you know. Sometimes it's nice to be spontaneous and let things unfold." Lily felt a sense of relief wash over her. "I agree. And I'm grateful for that. It's nice to escape reality for a bit." As they gazed up at the stars, she found herself leaning closer to him, their knees brushing together. A silence fell between them, but it wasn't awkward, it felt charged, alive with unspoken possibilities. Lily's heart raced as she caught Jake glancing at her, his expression serious yet inviting. "Lily," he said, his voice low, "I don't want to make you uncomfortable. But there's something about you that draws me in. I can't help but feel a connection, and I hope you feel it too." Her breath hitched at his words. There was an undeniable chemistry simmering beneath the surface, something that felt both exciting and dangerous. "I do," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I don't want to cross any lines. I need to figure things out back home first." "I understand," Jake replied, his tone respectful. "I wouldn't want to pressure you. I just wanted to be honest about how I feel." Feeling emboldened by the moment, Lily decided to take a leap. "Let's just enjoy tonight. No expectations, no pressures. We can just be two people enjoying a beautiful evening." "Sounds perfect," he smiled, and as their eyes met, the air between them felt electric. They sat for a while longer, sharing stories, laughter, and comfortable silence. The more they talked, the more Lily realized how much she enjoyed Jake's company. There was a sense of adventure in the air, a thrill of the unknown that both excited and terrified her. Eventually, the cool breeze prompted them to rise and make their way back to the cabin. As they walked, Jake took her hand in his, intertwining their fingers effortlessly. Lily's heart raced. She hadn't expected this level of intimacy, but it felt natural and right in the moment. When they returned to the cabin, the warmth of the fireplace welcomed them, casting flickering shadows across the walls. They settled onto the couch, the atmosphere cozy and inviting. Lily grabbed a couple of blankets, draping one over her shoulders and handing the other to Jake. "Want to watch a movie?" she suggested, trying to regain a sense of normalcy. "Sure. What do you have?" he asked, scrolling through her selection. As they searched for a film, their shoulders brushed together, and Lily felt the warmth radiating from Jake's body. A mixture of nerves and excitement swirled within her. Despite the thrill of the night, she couldn't shake the nagging thoughts about her relationship back home. Jake eventually settled on a light-hearted comedy, and they both relaxed, laughing at the antics on screen. But as the movie played, Lily found it increasingly difficult to focus. Every time she caught a glimpse of Jake's profile, a rush of feelings surged through her. Halfway through the film, Jake turned to her, his expression serious. "Lily, can I ask you something?" "Sure," she replied, her heart racing in anticipation. "What are you looking for? I mean, are you happy with your boyfriend?" His question caught her off guard, and she felt a knot form in her stomach. I don't know. Things have been rocky, and I'm trying to figure it all out," she admitted, her voice shaking. "I understand. I just want you to be happy." "You deserve that," Jake said gently. The sincerity in his eyes stirred something within her. "Thank you. It's hard to admit that I'm not sure what I want right now." Jake shifted closer, their knees touching. "It's okay to be unsure. Just know that whatever you decide, you deserve to be with someone who makes you feel valued and loved." Lily felt a warmth spread through her at his words. "I appreciate that, Jake. Honestly, I've felt a spark tonight that I haven't felt in a long time." "Me too," he confessed, his voice low and earnest. The intensity of the moment hung in the air between them, and Lily found herself drawn to him. It was a confusing and exhilarating feeling, one that left her questioning everything. She had always been the cautious one, but tonight was different. As the movie played on, they exchanged glances filled with unspoken words, and Lily felt herself inching closer to Jake. With every moment, the line between friendship and something more blurred, and she found herself teetering on the edge of a decision that could change everything. Chapter 3: A Night of Decisions. The movie played on, but Lily barely noticed the scenes unfolding on the screen. Instead, her mind was racing, caught in a whirlwind of emotions. Jake's presence felt magnetic, and with every passing moment, she sensed the boundary between them shifting. The air was thick with unspoken tension, and she couldn't help but wonder what would happen if she leaned into it. Jake shifted again, this time facing her directly. "Hey, can I be honest?" he said, his voice soft yet firm. "Of course," Lily replied, feeling her heart skip a beat. "I think you're incredible," he started, his gaze steady and sincere. "You're smart, adventurous, and you have this amazing energy that's just captivating. I don't want to complicate things for you, but I can't help how I feel." Lily felt a blush creeping up her cheeks. "Thank you, Jake. That means a lot." His honesty stirred something within her. She had been feeling trapped in her own life, stuck in a relationship that had lost its spark. But here, with Jake, everything felt different. "I've enjoyed tonight more than I thought I would," she admitted, biting her lip nervously. "I've enjoyed it too," he said, leaning in slightly. "It feels easy, you know. Like we just click." Lily nodded, the weight of her own situation pressing on her. "It does feel easy," she agreed, her mind racing with the implications of his words. She had always been the responsible one, but tonight felt like an invitation to break free from her usual constraints. "What if we just see where this goes?" Jake suggested, his voice barely above a whisper. "No pressure, no expectations. Just two people enjoying each other's company." The idea sent a thrill down Lily's spine. She wanted to say yes, to embrace this moment of spontaneity and adventure. But the thought of her boyfriend, Adam, loomed over her like a dark cloud. She didn't want to hurt anyone, but part of her longed to explore this connection with Jake. "I don't want to be the bad guy," she said, struggling with her thoughts. "I care about Adam, but I've been feeling so lost in our relationship." Jake's expression softened. "You deserve to be happy. Sometimes, that means exploring new possibilities. I would never want to pressure you into something you're not ready for, but it's clear there's something special here." Lily felt her heart racing at his words. Was it possible to feel so connected to someone in such a short time? She glanced down at their hands, which had been resting together on the couch. The warmth radiating from Jake felt intoxicating, and she yearned to take the plunge, to explore what was blossoming between them. "What if I just kissed you?" she asked suddenly, her voice trembling with uncertainty. Jake's eyes widened slightly, and a slow smile spread across his face. "I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't want that." Lily hesitated for a moment, weighing her options. Every fiber of her being urged her to lean in, to embrace this thrilling connection. She took a deep breath, steadying herself, and in one bold movement, she closed the distance between them. Their lips met softly, hesitant at first, but then building in intensity as Jake responded to her touch. A rush of warmth surged through her, and Lily felt herself melting into the kiss. The world outside faded away, there was only the warmth of the cabin and the spark igniting between them. As they pulled away, both breathless, Lily felt a mixture of exhilaration and fear. "Wow," she whispered, her heart racing. "Wow, indeed," Jake replied, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "That was something." "It was," she agreed, feeling a smile break across her face. But reality crashed back in, and she felt a pang of guilt. "What does this mean for us?" "I don't know," he admitted, running a hand through his hair. "But I'm willing to find out if you are. Just know that I want to respect whatever boundaries you have." Lily nodded, appreciating his honesty. "I appreciate that. I think we should take it slow, just see where things go without any pressure." "Agreed," Jake said, his smile genuine. "Tonight is just the beginning, then." They settled back into comfortable conversation, the atmosphere lightened by their shared moment. As they talked and laughed, the weight of her reality drifted further away. They shared stories about their favorite music, the wildest adventures they'd embarked on, and their dreams for the future. But as the night wore on, Lily couldn't shake the unease that lingered in the back of her mind. The more she connected with Jake, the more she felt a pull toward him. It was intoxicating but also terrifying. She needed to confront her feelings about Adam, to understand what she truly wanted. As the clock ticked past midnight, Jake stood up, stretching his arms above his head. "I should probably get going. I don't want to overstay my welcome." Lily felt a pang of disappointment. "Are you sure? It's still early, and we could watch another movie or play a game." "Trust me, I'd love to. But I want to leave you wanting more, not feeling overwhelmed," he said, his voice teasing. "Fair point," she conceded, a smile creeping onto her face. "You've made tonight unforgettable." "Good," he replied, stepping closer. "Let's make sure this isn't the last time we hang out, okay?" "Absolutely," she said, feeling a mix of excitement and uncertainty. Jake leaned in, planting a soft kiss on her forehead before gathering his things. "Text me when you get home. I want to know how the rest of your weekend goes." "I will," she promised, watching as he walked to the door. As he stepped outside, the cool night air enveloped him, and Lily felt a sense of longing. She closed the door behind him and leaned against it, heart racing with a swirl of emotions. The thrill of adventure and new possibilities flooded her senses, but the nagging thoughts of her relationship with Adam returned. She knew she had to face her reality, to decide what she truly wanted. For the first time in a long while, Lily felt alive, caught between the familiar comfort of her past and the exhilarating promise of something new. She knew this weekend would change everything, and she was determined to navigate the path ahead with honesty and courage. Lily awoke the next morning to the soft light filtering through the cabin windows. The events of the previous night flooded her mind, and she felt a mix of exhilaration and trepidation. The kiss with Jake replayed in her thoughts, igniting the thrill of spontaneity and adventure. Yet, it also carried a weight of guilt, the reality of her relationship with Adam looming over her like a dark cloud. After a restless night of tossing and turning, she finally decided to get up. The cabin was quiet, and as she made her way to the kitchen, the scent of fresh coffee filled the air, making her smile. She poured herself a cup, savoring the warmth as she gazed out at the peaceful surroundings. The forest looked enchanting in the morning light, vibrant and alive, and she felt a flicker of hope. Just as she settled down at the table, her phone buzzed, breaking the tranquility. It was a message from Jake. "Morning. How did you sleep?" Her heart raced at the sight of his name. She quickly typed back. *morning. I slept okay, thanks. Still processing everything from last night. Jake replied almost instantly. Same here. Let's meet up later? I know a great spot for brunch. Lily hesitated for a moment, her fingers hovering over the screen. Part of her wanted to dive headfirst into this new adventure, but another part reminded her of her commitment to Adam. She took a deep breath, reminding herself that she needed to make a decision about her future. Sounds great. What time? How about 11? I'll pick you up. She couldn't suppress a smile at his enthusiasm. See you then. She replied, excitement bubbling inside her. As she prepared for the day, thoughts of Jake danced in her mind. He was charismatic, adventurous, and had sparked something inside her that had long been dormant. But the reality of her relationship with Adam began to tug at her conscience. She needed to figure out her feelings before diving deeper into whatever this was with Jake. After getting dressed, she took a few moments to gather her thoughts. Sitting on the porch with her coffee, she stared into the trees, searching for clarity. Adam had been her comfort zone for years, but lately, their relationship felt more like a routine than a partnership. Lily pulled out her phone and began scrolling through her gallery, stopping at a photo of her and Adam from last year's vacation. They were smiling, arms around each other, carefree and happy. But beneath the surface, she could sense the growing distance between them, the missed connections, and the unspoken frustrations. As she mulled over her feelings, the clock ticked closer to 11. A mix of excitement and anxiety swirled within her. She wanted to be honest with Jake about her situation, but she didn't want to scare him away. The idea of moving on from Adam was daunting, yet liberating. When she heard a car pull up outside, her heart raced. She quickly grabbed her things and headed out the door, taking a moment to compose herself. As she stepped outside, she was greeted by Jake's warm smile, the sunlight highlighting his features. "Hey. Ready for some brunch?" he asked, his enthusiasm infectious. "Absolutely," she replied, returning his smile, even if it felt tinged with uncertainty. Jake opened the passenger door for her, and she slid into the seat, feeling the thrill of adventure. The drive was filled with easy conversation, their laughter mingling with the soft music playing in the background. They arrived at a charming little cafe nestled in the woods, with outdoor seating surrounded by trees. The ambience felt perfect, intimate yet vibrant, and it matched the energy buzzing between them. After they settled at a cozy table, Jake looked at her with genuine curiosity. "So, tell me more about yourself. What do you do when you're not having spontaneous adventures?" Lily chuckled, surprised by how comfortable she felt opening up to him. "I'm a graphic designer, and I love it. I get to be creative and work on interesting projects. But lately, I've felt a little stuck, I guess." "Stuck how?" Jake asked, leaning in, his eyes focused intently on her. "I've been in a relationship for a while, and while I care about him, it just feels off. Like we're living separate lives instead of sharing one," she confessed, surprised by her own honesty. Jake nodded, his expression understanding. "I get that. Relationships can be complicated, especially when you feel like you're not growing together." "Exactly. I've been feeling like I need to reevaluate what I really want," Lily admitted, her heart racing. "And meeting you has thrown a wrench into that process." Jake smiled softly. "I'm glad to hear that. I want you to figure out what makes you happy. It's important." The server arrived with their orders, and they continued to chat and enjoy their meal. But Lily's mind was still whirling, torn between her feelings for Jake and the reality of her relationship with Adam. "So, what's next for you?" she asked, trying to steer the conversation away from her internal conflict. Jake grinned. "I'm heading back to my hometown soon, but I want to do some traveling next year. I'm thinking about backpacking through Europe." "That sounds amazing. What's the first place you want to visit?" she asked, intrigued. "Probably Italy. I've always wanted to see the Amalfi Coast," he said, his eyes lighting up. "But honestly, anywhere with good food and beautiful scenery works for me." Their conversation flowed effortlessly, filled with laughter and shared stories. As they wrapped up their meal, Lily felt a sense of warmth spreading within her. She was enjoying Jake's company more than she anticipated, but the guilt about Adam lingered at the back of her mind. "Hey, I know this might be a bit much," Jake said as they walked out of the cafe, "but I really want to explore more with you. Would you be open to spending the rest of the day together?" Lily's heart raced at the invitation. Part of her wanted to say yes, to indulge in this new adventure with Jake. But another part of her was paralyzed by the weight of her choices. "I'd love that, but I should probably check in with Adam first," she replied, her voice hesitant. "Of course," Jake said, a hint of disappointment in his eyes. "I just want to make sure you're comfortable." "Thank you for understanding," she said, wishing she could be more spontaneous. "Let me text him quickly." As she stepped aside to send a message, her fingers trembled over the screen. How could she explain what she was feeling? Adam was still her boyfriend, but the connection with Jake was undeniable. After a moment, she sent a simple text, *Hey, just wanted to check in. I'm at brunch with a friend. Hope you're having a good morning. Jake watched her, his expression encouraging. You know, you don't have to feel guilty about wanting to enjoy your life. It's okay to have fun. Thanks, she replied, feeling a warmth in her chest. I guess I just need to find the right balance. They decided to take a short walk around the cafe before making any plans. The fresh air felt invigorating, and as they strolled through the trees, the connection between them deepened with every shared laugh and glance. So, what do you want to do next? Jake asked, his tone playful. Honestly, I've always wanted to go hiking, she replied, a spark of excitement igniting within her. But I've never really had someone to go with. I'm in. Let's find a trail nearby and make it an adventure, he said, his enthusiasm infectious. Really? That sounds amazing. Lily couldn't help but feel her spirits lift at the prospect of the day ahead. With their plans set, they began to walk back to the car, anticipation buzzing in the air. But as they walked, Lily's phone buzzed again. She glanced down to see a message from Adam. Hey, hope you're having a good time. Just wanted to see what you're up to today. Lily felt a pang of guilt. She wasn't ready to face the truth, not yet. She took a deep breath, knowing she had to be honest with herself before she could be honest with Adam. Just hanging out with a friend. We're going for a hike later. She sent the message, heart pounding as she looked up at Jake, who was leaning against the car, a smile on his face. Everything okay? He asked, concern flickering in his eyes. Yeah, just a quick check-in, she replied, forcing a smile. Ready for our adventure? Always. Jake replied, and together, they set off for the trailhead, the weight of her reality temporarily lifted as they stepped into the unknown. As they drove, Lily couldn't help but wonder what this day would hold. She was stepping into new territory, torn between the thrill of adventure and the pull of her past. But deep down, she knew that whatever happened, she had to face her feelings head-on, starting today. Chapter 5, The Hike of Reflection. The drive to the trailhead was filled with anticipation. The forest thickened around them, the road narrowing as they approached their destination. Jake turned up the music, and they sang along to upbeat tunes, laughter mingling with the sound of the engine. Each laugh, each shared glance, deepened the connection that had sparked between them. As they parked the car, Lily felt a flutter of excitement in her stomach. The air was crisp, and the scent of pine enveloped them as they stepped outside. Jake grabbed a small backpack from the trunk, filled with snacks and water, and they set off toward the trailhead. So, how often do you hike? Jake asked, glancing sideways at her as they walked. Honestly, not often enough. I always wanted to, but never found the right time or company, she admitted, her heart racing at the thought of their shared adventure. Well, you're in good hands now. I've been hiking for years. I know some amazing trails, he said with a grin, and Lily couldn't help but feel reassured. They began their ascent, the path winding through towering trees and vibrant undergrowth. The sun filtered through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the ground. As they hiked, the sounds of nature surrounded them, the rustling of leaves, the chirping of birds, and the distant sound of a stream. This is beautiful, Lily remarked, taking a deep breath of fresh air. The beauty of the forest felt invigorating, washing away her worries for the moment. Right? Nature has a way of putting everything into perspective, Jake replied, glancing at her with an easy smile. As they reached a clearing, the trail opened up to a stunning view of the valley below. Lily stopped in her tracks, her breath caught in her throat. Wow, look at that. Jake stepped beside her, his expression mirroring her awe. Pretty incredible, huh? It makes all the effort worth it. It really does, Lily said, taking it all in. The view reminded her of how much she had missed out on, the beauty of spontaneity and adventure that had slipped away while she was caught up in the mundane. They took a moment to enjoy the scenery, the stillness between them comfortable. Then Jake turned to her, a serious look in his eyes. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course," Lily replied, feeling a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. "Do you think you're really happy in your relationship?" he asked gently, probing her with a question she had been avoiding. Lily felt her heart race. I've been trying to figure that out. Adam and I have had good times, but lately, it feels like we're just going through the motions. I can't remember the last time we had a real connection. Have you talked to him about how you feel?" Jake pressed, his gaze steady. "I've tried, but it's hard to put into words," she admitted. "I don't want to hurt him, but I also can't ignore how I feel anymore." Jake nodded, his expression understanding. "It's tough. But you deserve to be with someone who makes you feel alive, not just comfortable." The weight of his words settled on her, echoing her own thoughts. She had been so afraid to confront the reality of her feelings, but the clarity of the moment washed over her. She wanted more than just comfort, she craved adventure, connection, and authenticity. "Spending time with you has opened my eyes to what I've been missing," Lily confessed. "I know I need to face my feelings about Adam, but it's daunting." "It's okay to be scared," Jake said, reaching out to squeeze her shoulder gently. "But don't let that fear hold you back from pursuing happiness." Lily took a deep breath, feeling the knot of anxiety in her stomach loosen slightly. "You're right. I need to confront this head on." They continued their hike, the conversation flowing easily between them. They shared stories, dreams, and aspirations, their connection deepening with every step. Jake's easygoing nature made her feel safe, and she found herself laughing and opening up in ways she hadn't anticipated. As they reached the summit, they paused to take in the breathtaking view, the valley stretching endlessly before them. The sun bathed everything in golden light, and Lily felt a rush of exhilaration. "Here we are," Jake said, spreading his arms wide as if to embrace the beauty surrounding them. "The world is ours to explore." Lily turned to him, her heart swelling with gratitude and admiration. "Thank you for pushing me out of my comfort zone. I really needed this." "Anytime," Jake replied, his gaze locking onto hers. "I'm glad we're doing this together." As they stood side by side, taking in the breathtaking view, Lily felt the weight of her decision pressing upon her once more. The sun was shining brightly, illuminating the path ahead, and she knew it was time to confront the reality of her feelings. "Jake," she began, her voice steady. "I want to be honest with you. I'm still figuring things out with my relationship, and I don't want to lead you on or get hurt in the process." He nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I appreciate your honesty, Lily. I want you to take the time you need. I'm not here to rush you into anything." The sincerity in his voice made her heart flutter. "I really enjoy being with you, and I want to explore where this connection might lead. But I need to be clear with myself first." "Absolutely. Just know that I'm here, ready to see where this goes whenever you're ready," he said, a warm smile spreading across his face. As they started their descent, Lily felt a sense of lightness in her chest. The hike had become a metaphor for her journey, stepping into the unknown and embracing the possibilities. She was beginning to understand that she didn't have to settle for comfort, she could chase adventure and authenticity. When they reached the bottom, the sun was beginning to set, casting a warm glow over the landscape. Jake turned to her, his eyes sparkling. "How about we grab dinner next? I know a great little place nearby." "Sounds perfect," Lily replied, her heart racing with excitement. As they drove to the restaurant, the tension from earlier dissipated. They talked easily, laughter filling the car. Lily felt a sense of freedom, and the weight of her decisions felt lighter. As they arrived at the restaurant, she glanced around, taking in the cozy atmosphere filled with laughter and chatter. They were seated at a small table by the window, the view overlooking a peaceful lake. "Is this place okay?" Jake asked, scanning the menu. "It's perfect," Lily said, feeling a rush of gratitude. Over dinner, they continued to share stories and dreams, their connection deepening with every laugh. Lily felt a sense of warmth enveloping her, and she knew she was on the brink of a significant change in her life. As they finished their meal, Jake looked at her intently. "I really enjoy spending time with you, Lily. I know this is all new territory, but I can't help but feel that there's something special here." "Me too," she replied, feeling her heart flutter. "But I need to be honest with myself first." "I respect that," he said, reaching across the table to squeeze her hand. "Take your time. I'm not going anywhere." The sincerity in his voice filled her with hope. She knew she had to confront her feelings about Adam, but for now, she was grateful for this moment, this adventure that had opened her eyes to new possibilities. As they left the restaurant and stepped into the cool evening air, Lily felt a sense of excitement building inside her. The road ahead was uncertain, but she was ready to face it, one step at a time. "Ready for the next adventure?" Jake asked, his eyes twinkling. "Always," she replied, feeling a smile break across her face. Together, they ventured into the night, leaving behind the weight of the past and stepping boldly into the unknown. Chapter 6, The Conflicted Heart. As they drove through the winding roads back to the cabin, Lily felt a rush of exhilaration. The stars were beginning to twinkle above, creating a magical backdrop for the evening. Jake turned down the music, allowing the sound of the tires on the road to fill the silence between them. "I had an amazing time today," he said, glancing at her with a warm smile. "Thanks for being so open with me." "Thank you for being so understanding," Lily replied, feeling a warmth spread through her. "I really appreciate that you're giving me space to figure things out." When they arrived back at the cabin, the cozy atmosphere wrapped around them like a blanket. The faint scent of pine and the crackle of the fireplace created an inviting ambience. As they stepped inside, Lily felt a mix of comfort and apprehension. She was at a crossroads, and her heart was torn in two directions. Jake set his backpack down and turned to her. "What do you want to do now? We could watch a movie, play some games, or just talk," he offered, his eyes glimmering with possibility. Lily hesitated. The thought of curling up on the couch with him sounded appealing, yet she couldn't shake the nagging voice in her head reminding her of Adam. "Let's just talk," she suggested, her voice steady despite the conflict brewing inside her. They settled into the plush couch, the warmth of the fire crackling nearby. Jake pulled a blanket over them, and Lily felt an electric charge in the air, a tension that was both exciting and nerve-wracking. "What's on your mind?" Jake asked, looking at her with a gentle curiosity. "I've been thinking a lot about my relationship with Adam," she began, her voice soft. "I care about him, but I can't ignore how I've been feeling. I don't know if it's fair to either of us to keep going like this." Jake nodded, his expression serious. "It's a tough situation. Sometimes, we hold on to things out of fear of change, fear of hurting someone we care about." "Exactly," Lily replied, feeling the truth of his words resonate within her. "But I also don't want to make a rash decision. I've invested so much into my relationship with Adam." "I get it. But you have to consider your own happiness, too. If you're not happy, then what's the point?" Jake said, his voice earnest. "You deserve to be in a relationship where you feel fulfilled." Lily leaned back against the couch, feeling the weight of his words. "It's hard to let go of the comfort and security, even if it's not what I truly want." Jake's gaze was steady as he looked at her. Sometimes, taking a leap of faith leads to something incredible. You never know what might be waiting for you on the other side. His words hung in the air, and Lily felt a flicker of hope. Maybe this was her moment to break free from the constraints of her past and embrace the future. Do you ever regret anything in your past? She asked suddenly, her curiosity piqued. Jake paused, considering her question. Not really. I believe everything happens for a reason, even the tough times. They shape us into who we are. Yeah, I guess that's true, Lily mused, reflecting on her own journey. I've had my share of ups and downs, but I can't help but wonder if I should have made different choices along the way. That's natural. We all wonder what could have been, Jake replied. But I think it's important to focus on the present. You can't change the past, but you can shape your future. Lily felt a surge of determination. She wanted to stop living in the shadows of her past decisions and start carving her own path. You're right, she said, a newfound clarity settling over her. I need to be true to myself. Jake smiled, the warmth of his presence wrapping around her. I'm glad you're realizing that. It takes courage to be honest about what you want. The conversation flowed effortlessly, weaving between light-hearted anecdotes and deeper reflections. As the night wore on, the fire crackled softly, casting a warm glow over the room. The chemistry between them was palpable, a tension that simmered just below the surface. Eventually, the conversation turned to lighter topics. They joked about their favorite movies, shared silly childhood stories, and even debated which superhero would win in a fight. Laughter echoed through the cabin, and for the first time in a long while, Lily felt a sense of liberation. After a while, the conversation shifted back to more serious topics. So, what do you see for yourself in the future? Jake asked, his tone gentle. I want to feel fulfilled, you know. In my career, in my relationships, Lily replied, her heart racing. I want to take risks and explore new opportunities. Then go for it, Jake encouraged. You're young, and life is too short to settle for anything less than what you truly want. Lily nodded, feeling the weight of his encouragement. It was time to be brave. As the clock ticked closer to midnight, the atmosphere shifted, the comfortable tension evolving into something more intimate. They sat closer together, the warmth of the fire mingling with the warmth of their connection. Can I ask you something? Jake said, his voice barely above a whisper. Of course, Lily replied, her heart racing in anticipation. Where do you see us in all of this? He asked, his gaze locked onto hers. I know you're in a complicated situation, but I can't help but feel something strong between us. Lily felt her breath catch in her throat. She had been wrestling with that very question since they met. I feel it too, she admitted, her heart pounding. But I don't want to rush into anything without being sure of what I want. I understand, Jake said, his tone sincere. But I also want you to know that I'm here for you, no matter what that looks like. Lily smiled, feeling a warmth spread through her. Thank you for being so patient with me. As the conversation lingered, the space between them grew smaller, the unspoken tension electric. They exchanged soft glances, and in that moment, Lily felt an overwhelming urge to lean closer. And then, before she knew it, Jake's hand found hers, fingers entwining. The world around them faded away, and all that mattered was the connection they shared. I really like you, Lily, Jake said softly, his eyes searching hers for confirmation. I hope you know that. Her heart raced at his admission. I like you too, Jake. You've brought something into my life that I didn't realize I was missing. Jake leaned in slightly, his gaze intense. Then let's explore this together. I know it's complicated, but I think it could be something special. Lily's breath hitched as she felt the weight of his words. I want that too, she whispered, her heart pounding in her chest. In that moment, she felt a shift within herself. The fears and doubts that had plagued her for so long began to fade, replaced by the thrill of possibility. They were at the precipice of something new, something that could lead her down a path she had only dreamed of. Just as the moment hung in the air, the sound of a phone buzzing broke the tension. Lily instinctively reached for her phone, the sudden reality crashing down on her. It was a message from Adam. *Hey, just checking in. Hope you're having a great time. Miss you. Lily's heart sank as she read the words. The reality of her situation flooded back, a stark reminder of the complicated web she was tangled in. She looked at Jake, whose expression had shifted to one of understanding. "Everything okay?" he asked gently, concern etched on his face. "Yeah, it's just Adam. He's checking in," Lily said, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake nodded, his eyes steady. "You should respond honestly, Lily. You need to be true to both yourself and him." Lily took a deep breath, her heart racing. She knew she had to face this. "Hey, I'm having a great time. I miss you too. Let's talk soon." She hit send, her heart pounding. The message felt heavy with implications, a small step towards confronting her reality. When she looked up, Jake was watching her, a mixture of admiration and respect in his gaze. "You did the right thing," he said softly. "Thank you for understanding," she replied, feeling a weight lift off her shoulders. They sat in silence for a moment, both of them processing the gravity of the situation. Lily felt a surge of determination. "I need to talk to Adam. I can't keep putting it off," she said, her voice firm. Jake nodded, his expression supportive. "Whenever you're ready, I'm here for you." As they settled back into conversation, Lily felt a renewed sense of purpose. The path ahead was unclear, but she was ready to face it head on. As the night wore on, the warmth of the fire crackled softly, casting flickering shadows around the room. With each passing moment, Lily felt herself stepping further into the unknown, embracing the possibilities that lay ahead. Chapter 7, The Confrontation. The next morning dawned bright and crisp. Sunlight streamed through the cabin windows, illuminating the cozy space where Lily had spent the night. She woke slowly, the events of the previous evening replaying in her mind like a vivid dream. Jake had fallen asleep on the couch, the blanket pulled over both of them. The memory of their shared confessions and the warmth of his hand in hers lingered in the air, making her heart flutter with uncertainty. After a quick shower, Lily decided to take advantage of the beautiful morning and stepped outside onto the porch. The fresh mountain air filled her lungs, and she could hear the sounds of nature waking up around her, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the distant sound of a stream. It was a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling in her mind. She pulled out her phone, contemplating whether to check Adam's response. She knew she couldn't hide from her feelings any longer, the time had come to face the truth. But the thought of breaking the news to him sent a wave of anxiety crashing over her. Just then, Jake stepped outside, stretching his arms overhead. "Good morning, sunshine," he called out, his smile infectious. "Good morning," Lily replied, forcing a smile as she tried to shake off her unease. "I was thinking we could grab some breakfast and maybe explore a bit before we head back," Jake suggested, moving closer. "What do you think?" "Sounds great," she replied, her heart racing. But the thought of the impending conversation with Adam loomed over her like a dark cloud. After a quick breakfast at a nearby cafe, filled with laughter and light banter, they drove to a scenic overlook that Jake had mentioned. As they parked and stepped out of the car, Lily felt a sense of adventure pulse through her. The view from the overlook was breathtaking, rolling hills stretched as far as the eye could see, painted with hues of green and gold. They wandered closer to the edge, taking in the stunning landscape. "This is incredible," Lily breathed, her worries momentarily forgotten. Jake stood beside her, leaning slightly against the railing. It really is. Moments like this remind me how small our problems can seem compared to the beauty of the world, he said, his gaze steady and contemplative. As they stood together, the warmth of the sun on their faces, Lily felt a flicker of hope. Perhaps this adventure could be a turning point for her, a way to embrace change rather than fear it. Jake, she began, her voice steady despite the anxiety bubbling beneath the surface. I need to talk to you about something. He turned to her, his expression attentive. Of course. What's on your mind? I've been thinking a lot about what you said last night, she continued, taking a deep breath. About being true to myself. I know I need to have an honest conversation with Adam. I can't keep going like this. Jake nodded, his eyes filled with understanding. I'm proud of you for recognizing that. It's a tough conversation to have, but it's necessary. Lily felt a swell of gratitude for his support. I just don't know how to approach it. What if he reacts poorly? That's a possibility, but you can't control how he responds, Jake said gently. All you can do is be honest. It's better to address it now than let it linger and hurt you both. I know you're right, she admitted, her heart racing. I just wish it didn't feel so daunting. Jake took a step closer, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. You're strong, Lily. You've already taken so many steps towards clarity. You can do this. With his encouragement fueling her resolve, Lily felt a rush of determination. Okay, I'll do it. I'll call him when we get back to the cabin. Good. Just remember to be honest about how you feel, Jake advised, his voice calm and steady. They spent the rest of the morning exploring the area, hiking along nearby trails and marveling at the beauty around them. With each step, Lily felt her confidence growing, her heart lighter than it had been in weeks. As they returned to the cabin, the weight of the conversation she had to have hung over her, but she was ready to face it. After they unpacked their things, she grabbed her phone, her hands shaking slightly as she dialed Adam's number. Here goes nothing, she muttered to herself as the phone rang. Hey, babe. Adam's cheerful voice greeted her, instantly flooding her with mixed emotions. Hey, Adam. Do you have a moment to talk? Lily asked, her heart racing as she steeled herself for what was to come. Of course. What's up, he replied, the lightness in his tone contrasting sharply with the seriousness of the moment. Lily took a deep breath. I've been doing a lot of thinking while I've been away, and I need to be honest with you about some things. Okay, what's on your mind? He asked, his tone shifting slightly, sensing the gravity in her voice. I've been feeling like we've been going through the motions for a while now, she started, her voice steady but her heart pounding. And I think it's time we talk about our relationship. What do you mean? Adam asked, confusion creeping into his tone. I care about you, but I've realized I'm not happy. I don't think I've been truly happy for a while, she admitted, the words spilling out like a dam breaking. There was silence on the other end, and Lily held her breath, anxiety gnawing at her. Are you serious? Adam finally said, his voice dropping to a whisper. Is this about that guy you're with? Lily felt a surge of frustration. It's not just about him. This is about me and how I feel. I need to be honest with myself and with you. I think it's best if we take some time apart. Are you kidding? You're just going to throw everything away? After all we've been through, he replied, disbelief evident in his voice. I don't want to throw it away, but I can't keep pretending everything is okay. I owe it to both of us to be honest about how I feel, she said, her voice firm. Lily, please don't do this. We can work through it, Adam pleaded, desperation creeping into his tone. Lily took a deep breath, fighting back tears. I'm sorry, Adam. I really am. But I need to do what's best for me right now. I need to figure out what I truly want. With that, she hung up the phone, feeling a mix of relief and sadness wash over her. She had done what she needed to do, but the pain of the conversation lingered in her chest. When she turned around, Jake was waiting in the living room, concern etched on his face. "How did it go?" he asked softly. "I did it," Lily replied, her voice trembling slightly. "I told him I needed time apart." Jake stepped closer, wrapping her in a warm embrace. "I'm proud of you. That couldn't have been easy." "It wasn't," she admitted, leaning into him. "But I felt like I had to be honest. It's just hard." "Change always is," he said, pulling back to look into her eyes. "But you're on the right path. You're strong, and you deserve to be happy." Lily smiled, comforted by his words. "Thank you for being here for me, Jake. I couldn't have done it without your support." They sat on the couch, the weight of the world slowly lifting as they talked about everything and nothing. The connection between them felt deeper, more meaningful, and the tension that had once filled the air shifted into something hopeful. As evening approached, the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the cabin. Lily felt a sense of anticipation building within her. She was stepping into the unknown, ready to embrace whatever came next. Chapter 8: New Beginnings. The days that followed Lily's conversation with Adam were a whirlwind of emotions. The initial relief of having finally voiced her feelings slowly transformed into a complex mix of anxiety, guilt, and hope. It felt surreal, having stepped into a new chapter of her life, and she was both exhilarated and terrified by the possibilities that lay ahead. Jake had been an unwavering support during this transition. They spent their days exploring the scenic beauty around the cabin, hiking, cooking together, and sharing stories that allowed Lily to see the world through new eyes. Each moment brought a renewed sense of purpose, and for the first time in a long time, she felt like she was genuinely living. One afternoon, while sitting on the porch overlooking the mountains, Lily opened up to Jake about her feelings. "I thought breaking up with Adam would be easier, but it's not," she confessed, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "I feel guilty for wanting something different, but I also know it was necessary." Jake nodded, his expression sympathetic. "It's completely normal to feel that way. You invested a lot in that relationship, and it's hard to let go of what you know, even if it's not making you happy. I just wish things could be different," she admitted, frustration lacing her words. "I didn't want to hurt him, but I also don't want to stay in a situation that makes me miserable." "You're allowed to prioritize your own happiness," Jake said gently. "It doesn't diminish what you had with Adam. You're just choosing to move forward in a way that feels right for you." Lily appreciated his perspective. It was a reminder that change was often messy but necessary. She could see the beauty in the unknown and felt a growing excitement about what her future might hold. As the days turned into a week, Lily found herself reflecting on her life goals. The conversations with Jake had ignited a spark within her, pushing her to consider her passions and what she truly wanted to achieve. She had always loved art but had set aside her dreams for practicality and comfort. One evening, while they were lounging in the cabin after a long day of hiking, she turned to Jake with newfound determination. "I think I want to pursue my passion for art again," she declared, her heart racing with excitement. "Really? That's amazing. What kind of art do you want to create?" he asked, genuine enthusiasm lighting up his face. "I've always been drawn to painting, especially landscapes. I love capturing the beauty of nature, and being here has reignited that passion in me," she said, her eyes sparkling with possibility. Jake grinned. "You should definitely go for it. This place is inspiring. There's so much beauty to draw from. Have you thought about starting a project while you're here? I could set up my easel on the porch and paint the mountains. It would be a great way to channel my feelings into something productive," Lily mused, feeling the excitement bubble inside her. That's a perfect idea. I'd love to see what you create, Jake encouraged, his support a comforting presence. The next morning, Lily set out to gather supplies for her painting. She found a nearby art store and picked up some canvases, brushes, and vibrant paints. Returning to the cabin, she felt an exhilarating rush as she prepared her makeshift studio on the porch, ready to dive back into her passion. With the mountains as her backdrop, she began to paint, allowing herself to be immersed in the process. Each stroke of the brush felt liberating, and the worries that had plagued her mind began to fade away. It was just her, the colors, and the canvas, an escape into a world where she could express herself freely. Jake often joined her on the porch, sometimes sitting quietly while she painted, other times bringing his guitar to strum soothing melodies that mingled with the sounds of nature. Their connection deepened with each passing day, and Lily felt more alive than she had in years. One afternoon, as she stood back to admire her work, she felt a swell of pride. "I can't believe I'm actually doing this," she said, glancing at Jake, who was watching her with admiration. "It's beautiful, Lily. You have a real gift," he complimented, genuine warmth in his voice. "You can see your passion come alive on the canvas." Lily beamed at the praise. "It feels so good to create again. I've missed this part of myself." As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the mountains, Lily and Jake shared a moment of tranquility, their hearts full of unspoken understanding. It was a reminder that while they were both navigating uncertain waters, they were doing it together. One evening, while they were sitting by the fire, Jake turned to her with a serious expression. "Lily, I've been thinking about what you said when we first started spending time together. You wanted to figure out what you truly want in life." "Yeah," she replied, her curiosity piqued. "I want you to know that I'm here for you, no matter what that looks like," he said, his gaze steady. "I care about you, and I want to support you in your journey." Lily felt a warmth spread through her. "I appreciate that so much, Jake. You've helped me see things more clearly, and I'm grateful for your support." As they sat in comfortable silence, the crackling fire casting flickering shadows around them, Lily felt a spark of hope ignite within her. She was no longer the person stuck in an unhappy relationship, she was a woman ready to embrace her passions and live authentically. "Do you ever think about what's next for you?" she asked, breaking the silence. Jake pondered for a moment before answering. "I'm not sure yet. I've enjoyed traveling and exploring new places, but I think I'm ready to settle down somewhere meaningful. Maybe somewhere that inspires creativity." Lily nodded, feeling a connection in their shared desire for a fulfilling life. "I think finding a place that resonates with you is important. We all deserve to have a space that reflects who we are." As the fire crackled softly, a sense of comfort enveloped them. They shared stories and dreams late into the night, the bond between them growing stronger. But amidst the joy, a nagging feeling tugged at Lily's heart. The reality of her situation with Adam still lingered in her mind, a reminder that she was navigating a delicate balance. "Jake," she said quietly, "I know we've been having a great time together, but I want to make sure you're aware of what's going on with me and Adam. I don't want you to feel like I'm using you as a distraction." Jake turned to her, his expression sincere. "I appreciate you being honest with me. I care about you, and I want to support you while you figure things out. But you have to remember that you're the priority here. I'm not asking you to rush into anything." "I know," Lily said, feeling grateful for his understanding. "I just want to make sure I'm being fair to both of us. I've got a lot of emotions to process." "We'll take it one day at a time," Jake reassured her, his gaze steady. "You're not alone in this. Whatever you decide, I'll be here." With his words echoing in her heart, Lily felt a surge of gratitude. She was finally ready to embrace her journey, to take the steps necessary for her happiness. And with Jake by her side, she felt a sense of courage she hadn't known before. As they settled into their cozy cabin that night, a sense of peace washed over Lily. She was on the cusp of a new beginning, one filled with possibilities, creativity, and the chance to redefine her life. The road ahead was still uncertain, but for the first time in a long while, she felt ready to face it.